The recent funerals in Iran for fallen military commanders and scientists have exposed a stark reality about the ongoing conflict with Israel, revealing a truth that cuts through the fog of misinformation. This video is regarding the funerals took place in Iran for the Iranian military commanders and scientists who were killed. The funeral services were authorized by the federal government and thousands of people attended, all visibly grieving. The photos shown included scientists and high-ranking military generals, individuals who frequently interacted with the Iranian public on television. These were the people who were killed. The loss of such prominent figures isn't just a statistic. It's a profound blow to Iran's national psyche and its strategic ambitions. According to the latest figures from Iran's state media, particularly the IRGC-affiliated Tasnim news agency, around 90 people were buried in the funeral ceremony. Of these, more than 60 were senior military officers from the IRGC and other branches, while the remaining 30 were top nuclear scientists and other key figures. Meanwhile, Iran's semi-official human rights organizations, which operate under government oversight, reported that a total of 1,040 people were killed, though the names of the remaining victims have not been released. These numbers paint a grim picture of the devastation, targeting the very backbone of Iran's military and scientific elite. The loss of such figures disrupts not only Iran's defense capabilities, but also its nuclear aspirations, which have long been a cornerstone of its regional strategy. This is what I meant when I said Israel has struck at the heart of Iran. These were not ordinary civilian deaths. These were the highest-ranking military officials, the men who controlled Iran's armed forces and held influence across ministries. This was a direct blow to the core of Iran's power structure. The precision and impact of these strikes underscore Israel's ability to target the most critical elements of Iran's regime, dismantling its leadership and setting back its strategic goals by years. This wasn't a random attack. It was a calculated move to weaken Iran at its core. Now, let's contrast this with the situation in Israel. In India, particularly in certain media circles, there's a narrative being pushed that Israel suffered massive losses, claims that 40,000 homes were destroyed, that Israel was devastated. But let's be clear, in Israel, even a single soldier's death is a major national event. Yet, in this conflict, not a single Israeli soldier was killed. The IDF and the Israeli government have confirmed this. Zero military casualties. This fact alone shatters the myths being spread and highlights the asymmetry of the conflict. Israel's ability to execute such precise operations without losing a single soldier speaks volumes about its military superiority. The war was fought between two militaries, not civilians. That's the real measure of its impact. So, who actually won this war? The answer is obvious when you look at the facts, not the fabricated narratives being spread. Israel's targeted strikes achieved their objectives, while Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure suffered catastrophic losses. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One side emerged unscathed militarily, while the other is reeling from the decimation of its leadership. Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, did not attend the funeral. This is highly unusual. Historically, Khamenei has made public appearances even for much smaller incidents, like when Qasem Soleimani was killed by a US drone strike in Iraq. Back then, Khamenei led the mourning ceremonies. But this time, with dozens of top military leaders and scientists dead, he was conspicuously absent. Why? Fear? Or has his authority been so severely undermined that he couldn't show his face? His absence speaks volumes about the crisis within Iran's leadership, signaling a regime struggling to maintain control in the face of such a significant setback. The reality is sinking in for the Iranian people. In the past 2 days alone, nearly 900 people have been arrested. Activists, protesters, and those who dared to speak out on social media. The regime is cracking down because the truth is out. Iran has been humiliated. Its military leadership is decimated. Its nuclear program set back by years, and its regional influence shattered. These arrests reflect a desperate attempt to silence dissent and control the narrative, but they also reveal the growing unrest among Iranians who are beginning to question their government's competence and legitimacy. Compare this to Israel, where life continues normally. There were civilian casualties, around 32 deaths and roughly 100 injuries from missile strikes, but the military infrastructure remains intact. The power imbalance is staggering. Israel's ability to absorb limited civilian losses while maintaining an untouched military apparatus demonstrates its resilience and strategic dominance. Life in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem goes on, with markets open and daily routines uninterrupted, a stark contrast to the chaos gripping Iran. Now, let's address the misinformation. In India, particularly in certain media and YouTube circles, there's a deliberate effort to distort reality. False claims, exaggerated numbers, and outright lies are being packaged as news. But here's the truth. Israel's precision strikes crippled Iran's military and nuclear capabilities without a single Israeli soldier dying. That's not just a victory. It's a demonstration of overwhelming superiority. These fabricated narratives, often pushed by regional media outlets chasing views, distort the reality of Israel's tactical success and Iran's devastating losses. The Arab world is taking notice. Countries that once hesitated to openly support Israel are now re-evaluating their stance. Why? Because Israel has proven it can strike deep into enemy territory, dismantle critical facilities, and walk away unscathed. Nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which have been warming to Israel through agreements like the Abraham Accords, see the strategic value of aligning with a power capable of such precision. This shift could reshape Middle Eastern geopolitics, with Israel emerging as a dominant force and Iran struggling to regain its footing. As for Iran, the regime is now scrambling to contain the fallout. The arrests, the censorship, the desperate attempts to control the narrative, all of it points to a leadership in crisis. The people are waking up and the regime knows it. The crackdown on dissent, coupled with the absence of Khamenei at the funerals, suggests a government on the defensive, unable to project strength in the face of such a public humiliation. Iran's regional ambitions, once bolstered by its military and nuclear programs, are now in tatters. In conclusion, the facts are clear. Israel's military and strategic dominance is undeniable. Iran, on the other hand, has suffered a catastrophic blow, not just in terms of infrastructure and personnel, but in credibility. The lies being spread in certain Indian media circles won't change that. The truth is evident in the numbers, the outcomes, and the stark contrast between a nation moving forward and one grappling with collapse. For those who still doubt, I have a simple request. Talk to the thousands of Indians working in Israel. Ask them how many Israeli soldiers died. Ask them what really happened. The truth will always come out, no matter how many fake narratives are pushed. Indian workers in Israel, many of whom contribute to the country's tech and healthcare sectors, can provide first-hand accounts of the situation, cutting through the propaganda with real-world insights. This isn't just about a war between two countries. It's about the power of truth over propaganda, and in that battle, truth always wins. Let's consider the broader implications. Iran's setbacks could embolden its domestic opposition, with protests already simmering under the surface. The regime's crackdown on activists signals fear of a broader uprising, especially as economic woes and international isolation intensify. For Israel, this victory strengthens its position as a regional powerhouse, but it also raises the stakes for future conflicts, as Iran may seek retaliation through proxies like Hezbollah. From India's perspective, this conflict highlights the dangers of misinformation in shaping public perception. The false narratives circulating in certain Indian media outlets mirror broader global trends, where sensationalism often overshadows facts. India, with its own complex regional dynamics, must be wary of such distortions, as they can influence domestic sentiment and foreign policy. Engaging with credible international sources and fostering media literacy can help counter these narratives. The Indian diaspora in Israel, numbering over 85,000, plays a vital role in bridging perspectives. Their experiences offer a unique lens on the conflict, free from the biases of regional media. By amplifying their voices, we can challenge the propaganda and ground our understanding in reality. In my next video, we'll explore how India can navigate global conflicts and counter misinformation effectively. For now, let's commit to seeking the truth and rejecting the lies that seek to divide us.